There we go. Right, team, welcome to this week's community call. Today, we are going to be going over the differences between doing the work when it comes to trading versus thinking you're doing the work. Now, this is probably a topic that I would have loved to have heard about when I was starting, because there was a lot of things I thought I was doing the work where I was actually almost tricking myself into overworking the wrong areas. And we'll dive into that. And this call is going to be a bit more of a conversation than last call. If you guys watched the last call, we had a presentation and everything. It's not going to be the case this time. We're going to just talk it out and yeah, almost like a freestyle a little bit. So I'm going to start off by naming a few things that I can think of when it comes to thinking you're doing the work. The first thing that comes to mind is just in general trading without a system, getting that demo account or even putting a live account in and just trading and seeing what happens. Now, it's very easy to fall into, and I know for a fact I can't even tell you the amount of times I did it, but I did it a lot of times. I know Tom did it a lot of times. I know a few other guys that started trading around a similar time, did a similar thing, and sometimes with real money as well. It's very easy to think that's what you're meant to be doing because at the end of the day, we're all trying to become traders. So I guess that's how you'd work in any other industry. If you were trying to become, I don't know, a professional skateboarder, you'd go right, you'd ride your skateboard and you'd learn from the failures. In swimming, you'd go swim and learn when you nearly drown, I guess. But that's not how it works in trading. We're not trying to put up live money, do random things and go, oh, that worked this time, so I'll do this forever. That's not what we're looking to do. So that's number one I can think of. And the second thing that I can think of right now is either joining loads of groups or joining like signal groups or deposit groups. So, what I mean by this, there's nothing wrong, obviously, we have one, with joining a group that wants to help you. But more and more, we're seeing, especially with the free community, there's a lot of people in there that are wanting value, but there's also an overwhelming majority that have just joined. And I know the psychology behind this because I would have done the same when I was first starting. You join the group and you're like, yes, I am putting in the work. I am in this group. I'm grinding it out. And unfortunately, that isn't the case for most of us. You'll be just joining the group to have that dopamine hit of, yes, I'm in a group. This works. But what we need to be doing is we need to be joining the right groups and putting in the effort. And it's the same for signal groups. That's another I'll call it a cop out because with a signal group, you are just trying to get someone else to have done the work for you. That's like starting a job and just constantly going on Fiverr to get someone else to freelance do the work for you. Yeah, you'll make some money, but most of the time you're paying someone else to do it, so you're always going to be at a loss. And it's the same with signal groups. You will 98% of the time, not a real statistic, but you will lose money eventually because they'll either want you to do some kind of broker scheme where you have to put some money up and then they'll just take your money because they're scammers, or you'll miss a few key signals. They'll get like 6 million R. You'll be back down it like really far in drawdown, and then you'll get back to it after they've had their winning streak, and there comes the next losing streak. So you'll fall for that because the trading there isn't up to you; it's up to someone else. So they're the two probably most common areas of traders thinking they're doing the work when they're actually not that I can think of right now. I don't know if you have anything, Tom.
Yeah, I've got a couple, and it comes to more when you're obviously trading. So the first one I will say is it comes to journaling. Now, when it comes to doing the likes of journaling, it's a task that requires you to be putting in a bit of effort. You have to be honest, you have to be straight to the point, you have to be accountable in your journal, okay? Because otherwise you're not going to learn anything, it's not going to be a good journal. It's basically going to be a waste of time. Now, what can be a common thing? Sometimes myself and Ayrton, I'm sure we've done it, but sometimes you catch yourself just doing the journal for the sake of doing the journal. And this is exactly what we're on about. And this is doing the work and feeling like you're doing the work. And as a matter of fact, you're more doing it to feel like you have done it instead of actually putting the effort to do it. And it's like a way of feeling accomplished without doing the hard thing.
Yeah.
And that's obviously going to come back around. If you're just going to be journaling for the sake of it, let's say you had a day you weren't happy with, maybe you did have a bad day, maybe you did make some mistakes, and maybe instead of being accountable, maybe you are being accountable, but maybe you're not writing the full story in your journal. Maybe you're trying to say it really quickly and try, you know, uh, put it off for a few other reasons. You're kind of missing the whole point of the journal in the first place. So you're not actually really doing the work. You're more trying to tick off the task as a whole to then move on to something else, or not even have it as something you need to think about. So at the end of the day, the whole point is to do the work. And another example I'm trying to think of would be maybe when you're first studying, maybe when you've just, you're quite new to trading, maybe you're watching videos, maybe you're watching the Market Maker course by ICT, like me and Ed first did. Now, let's say halfway through, and you're like, okay, halfway through, this is taking a while, whatever. Maybe you just put the video on, and maybe you just sit there with your pen and paper in your hand, and you're kind of just watching it. And you're not, you're listening, and you understand what he's saying, but you're not really touching the paper with your pen. You're not really actually trying to think in a way where you can load this not only into your brain, but you can also write it on paper to refer to later. Instead, you just kind of sat there like, yeah, damn, halfway through. Oh, it's taking a while to watch these. Yeah, cool, I understand that. That's a market maker model. Yeah, cool. Yeah, Oh, yeah, I watched that video. Great. Next, that's one down. I haven't really done the work there because watching it is the easy task, the same way as typing in your journal. This trade. Yeah, I made a mistake, but also bad this and this. Cool, done. Yes, you've done the task, but you haven't truly done the work to get what you're meant to from the task. So
Yeah.
you're gonna know subconsciously you haven't done the task as well. And there's another thing you're gonna have to think about when it comes to when it comes to doing the work or feeling like you're doing the work, because you know within yourself if you've done the work. You will
Yeah.
feel confident as a result, and people will tell because there's a different walk by people who have done the work that they say they've done to those who say they've done it but haven't, because actions do speak louder than words, and you can tell. And you know more than anyone that if you've done the work or not. So, difference to summarize my 2 points, difference between feeling like you're doing the work and doing the work is simply have you put in the actual work? Simples. Don't know what
Yeah.
you think to them, Eton.
Well, I wrote 2 points down so I didn't forget them because I knew that's the kind of thing. First of all, I'll say hi to Josh and Okan. I don't know if the stream can hear the dings, but Josh and Okan have joined. So welcome to the call, guys. Tom had just mentioned two areas of like common pitfalls where people think they're putting in the work. And your first one was not properly doing your journal, kind of like half
Half-assing
doing
it.
it. Yeah. um, and the other was watching videos and just kind of like putting them on in the background whilst really you might be like scrolling through TikTok or just not paying attention in general. My 2 points to that, especially for journaling, but it does apply to the second one, is that at the end of the day, when you, like you say, half-ass your journal, when you don't write the proper notes, all of that, you're only lying to yourself. And that was the big click for me because like it's dead easy to just like, oh, it was kind of a loss. I don't really want to talk about that. Like, yeah, I know it was a loss, but force yourself to write it down because if you don't write it down, you have no actual statistical almost evidence that you failed and you learned from it. Because now, next time you see that mistake happening, well, third time lucky, you can look back and see exactly how you fixed it, why it happened, and see if you're falling for the same mistake and you cannot do it again. So, my key point is just don't lie to yourself. You're the one losing out. And the second thing that I was going to add to your videos is so not watching your videos enough is a big thing. But another thing that I would say is almost more thinking you're putting in the work is watching too many videos. And this is a hard line to call, and it's really easy to fall for. And I'd rather someone watches too many than like doesn't watch any fully. But it's really common for traders to be having mistakes, maybe in their back testing, maybe in their live markets, wherever it is, and they just go, "Oh, I need to keep watching this. I'm going to watch hours and hours and hours and hours." And yes, when you start, before you even know how the markets really work, before you know any concepts, anything like that, you do need to put in the hours when it comes to watching good quality videos. And for finding good quality videos, I'd just talk to an experienced trader, whether you're in this group and it's us or Josh or Max or anyone. Ask people who've done it. Um, or if you're not in the group, just ask someone you know who's an experienced trader. That's how you'll get the quality videos that you need to watch and then put the hours into them. Don't go round every time something goes wrong, watching a whole new course by a whole new trader who's got all new concepts, because you're just going to come back to the market even more confused. And in your mind, you've put in loads of work, you've listened to loads of lectures in trading, and then when it comes to the market, there's too much going on. You go, wait, this guy told me this was a buy level, but this other guy told me it was a sell. This guy told me I should move into break even here, but this other guy told me I should just let it run out. Take your advice of maybe one or two credible sources, really deep dive into it, like Tom was saying, and make your notes properly. Because otherwise, like I said, you're lying to yourself, and just lock in on those. Don't go too broad because you'll trick your mind into thinking you're doing the work. Now, wait, did you have something you wanted to say?
I thought of an analogy, so if you got something, I can save it for a second if you want to say your point.
No, no, go for it.
Okay, so how I want you to look at doing the work versus feeling like you're doing the work. I guess knowing the difference and it telling the tale for you is you gotta look at doing the work like you're trying to build a house. Now, this house is whatever you want to refer to it as, profitability, X amount of funding, and so on. At the end of the day, there's an end result, and that's building the house to get there. Now, let's just say profitability, because that entails all the things you really want from trading anyway. So you're trying to build a house to get to being profitable. If you build this house by feeling like you've done the work, so maybe putting the screws in, maybe filling the cement but maybe missing some areas or not using a high quality cement and so on. If you have this approach for even 50% of the process or 25% of the process throughout the entire building phase of your house, there is going to be 25% of that that has not been built to the right level it should have been. So, yes, your house may stand. Yes, you may become profitable because, believe it or not, I think it's a few simple things that can simply make you profitable, but then it's kind of elevating more than just being able to trade something. You're gonna have this 25%, this 50%. You're gonna have these things that you haven't fully worked on crop up. So you might be able to execute a strategy profitably, but then you might not have covered the basis of what to do when you're profitable, how to deal with other factors. Your house is not built properly. And like Ken said, if you go into multiple different sources, for example, you're going to have multiple different bits of information. If you go to multiple different house designers, you're going to struggle to find the right advice for what you're trying to do. You want to find
Yeah,
a house designer who's built, let's just say, in this case, you want to build a house up in the mountains somewhere. You're going to go to a guy who is either from a family who's done it before, he's done it, and he's an old person with experience who has got multiple brick houses, stone houses that have stood the test of time, you know works, and is going to give you a good advice, not because he needs the money, because he's saying, hey, look, I didn't personally build this house, but my dad did, and look at it now, and he told me all the ways, and I have this business now, etc. That's how you want to view putting in the work. You want to put in the
yeah,
work to find the right resources. You want to put in the work to listen to him, and then you want to put in the work to take action on what they say. So it doesn't mean
yeah,
listening like, yeah, he said do this, and then just sit and watch the video here. Cool, I've done what he said. So yes, Tom says go watch the Market Maker course. You go watch the whole Market Maker course, like Anne said. If you watch it in a day, you're gonna have to rewatch that, my friend. Maybe in 2 days, most likely you have to rewatch it again. I don't even know if you can watch it in a day. The point being is, there's a difference between literally having achieved and done a task versus actually doing the work to get what is designed and required for you to get from it. So if you
yeah,
sit down and journal, the work is not doing the journal. The work is achieving the outcome. So you're always trying to work to achieve the outcome, not just do the task. Because if you're just doing the task, you're just kind of mindlessly bobbing about, just doing things. And I've done it.
yeah.
Done it. You have to put in the work, not just do the work. So that's my
Best
analogy.
part about that analogy that I think is when it comes to building a house, if there are those parts you like half-ass, you just go, I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna cut back on this because I can't really be bothered doing that. Then, like you said, yes, your house might stand, But what's going to crop up in 5 years' time? Something's going to leak. You're going to get a huge bill because now the plumber's taking advantage of you. Some of your wall isn't working. Now the bricklayer is taking advantage, and he's like, "Well, you should have listened to me, so I'm going to charge you double now because I can." And what are you going to do? You're going to have to pay it, and you're going to have to take those steps back. Now, I don't know if the stream can see the chat. But Okan has put a comment. If you love what you do, you would want to try and know everything about it. And this is a good comment. However, I do have something to pick at. So, what I was just saying is when it comes to knowing everything about it, it doesn't always apply to trading. And that is the hard part. When it comes to trying to know everything about trading, you can fall into those rabbit holes of watching huge amounts of videos from huge amounts of people. And yes, you'll know a lot, but when you come to the market, you won't be able to apply a lot. You'll have to figure out which works for you. But now you've got so much information that you don't know what to do. And it's the same like you said about that architect thing. If you were building that house and like 600 architects told you this is how your house should look, yes, at the end of the day, you'll be able to narrow it down to a few or one that you like. That's a much harder, longer, cost ineffective process than maybe getting three or five, or like we were saying for trading, like two, maybe two or three, and going, yeah, no, this guy works for me. This is a good design. And then working on that design rather than narrowing it down from 600. So, yes, you want to know everything about it. He's rage quit. But I'd say the best thing you want to say is you want to know. I don't even know how to word this.
I
You
got
want
you.
to know like, the best about it.
So, you don't want to know everything about every trading strategy, about every person, about every way, every incy bit of detail. You do not need to know any of that, and then, like Ant said, it will it will do you bad things. Josh just said it perfectly.
Yeah,
You want to be a specialist over generalist. Now,
yeah,
Okan is partially right, but I'm not sure if he was intending it in this way. Now, the one thing you do want to know everything about is this person, you. You need to know everything about you. You need to go inside and out and understand everything about you because you'll get to a point when it comes to trading and your psychology and what makes it a lot easier is loving trading. And you have to kind of rinse yourself. You have to look in the mirror a lot. You have to be honest. Like I was saying, with your journal, that's why it's an easy task to just kind of do and move on because you have to be self accountable. It's very difficult. So you do have to know everything about yourself. And the other thing I'd say you have to know everything about is your strategy. Like back test it for a very long period of time and look at it every single day. And as long as you know everything about your strategy and your psychology, then there really shouldn't be anything stopping you because if you're just focused on those two things, you've not been also maybe it's been a while still, you've not looked at all these other different strategies, they're not going to be in your brain at all. So me and Edson haven't really ever delved too deep into any of the strategies. We're aware of other ways to trade in ICT and out, but I think we're very lucky to have not fallen down a rabbit hole of over analyzing. We kind of just know what you need to know, plus things that make it even better and easier, as you do anyway from the markets. But we never overanalyzed in the start. We just looked for what clicked and worked, and then that was it. We didn't just, I need to know everything, I want to know everything, because that's not the solution in trading. You'll get to the chart and be like, okay, I see four different strategies, all selling and buying at different times. This is very confusing. Don't want it to be like that.
yeah. I was about to say it's it does essentially narrowing down your field of kind of research. It makes trading easier. It makes your journey easier, and that's why so many people don't do it because they think that yes, it's not an easy journey, but because this makes it easier, they think they're not doing the right amount of work. They're like, wait, no, I should be doing hours of content, hours of listening to this, hours of learning this concept. But it's not how it works in trading, which is kind of alien to the rest of the world. We don't want to be doing that. Like Josh said, you're a specialist over a generalist. We're snipers, we're not machine guns. We're taking that one trade that aligns with that one setup, the win matches, the Earth's rotation matches, because you're going for extremely high RRs. But we're not shooting machine guns. Tom Evans, you are muted.
I have no idea how I'm muted. But what I was gonna say is Josh has put it perfectly. Obviously, again, specialist over generalist, but would you not rather be absolutely amazing to the point with using one thing, so ICT in our case, over knowing every single pattern and method and not knowing how to use them at all, well then obviously you know the answer. Yes, you want to be a jack of all trades in life, but in trading it doesn't apply. You just simply there's only so many minutes in the day that you want to be on the charts. It's only so much risk you want to be putting up. And for example, the silver bullet, if you want to trade the 1 minute silver bullet on the Nasdaq, you're going to find it very difficult, best example I can think of really, to trade five other even pairs, never mind strategies, all within that same silver bullet window. So
Yeah.
if you look at it like that, it's not going to work. You just can't. So
Let's all simplify our journeys by making it easier and just getting over the fact that it will feel like less, but you're doing more because you're doing the right things. Um, Before we kind of run out of time because we are limited on these calls, we should get onto the other end of the spectrum. What actually is doing the work? And I guess we have hinted at those through our answers, but let's try and think of a few examples of doing the work. The key one that sticks out to me, and I know Tom wants to
can I
say it,
guess?
to steal the limelight, it is back testing. Surprise! I wonder if they've ever heard us say that before.
No,
But
never.
back testing is the main work. After you've watched the few hours of videos you need to watch, like Tom was saying, if you're watching the Market Maker course, you can get that done comfortably and taking good notes. I'd give yourself like 1 to 2 weeks comfortably if you want to be taking the notes and you've got a life going on. If you haven't got a life going on, then you can probably get it done in like a week and still have good notes going. But after that, we're hopping straight into backtesting, and this is our risk-free zone to learn. You don't have to you don't have to wait for the next session. You don't have to wait for the next day. You don't have to put up your own money. You collect data. It gives you the results at the end of it. You know exactly where you stand with backtesting. You know exactly where to go from there. That is doing the work. If you have an FX replay that says you've put in a total of like 72 hours of work in, I don't know, a month or something like that, that was that was a good shift. You put in the right work. You didn't just sit there trading stupidly just for the sake of it. Now, I guess where this can be a pitfall is I think I sent you a video of it today, Tom, about this guy who was not necessarily telling people not to backtest, but he was telling people he's a full-time trader and he
Oh
didn't
yeah.
backtest. Yeah, he was saying because he found himself going on the charts and doing the same thing he did on a demo account. He'd be on like a 10K account and then a few trades down the line, he gets a bit bored of his strategy. Maybe it does all right, and then it takes a dip. And instead of just riding that out to collect the data, honing his skill, he was just going like I don't know what he was doing, but in essence, he was doing one-to-one trades with incredibly high risk, trying to flip it to a million. At that point, you're not doing the work anymore. The work in backtesting is like when you're watching the videos, you have to do it specifically and to a good standard and the right way. And that right way is to follow your one system, trade it through drawdown. If it produces a 26 loss streak, you know that isn't the strategy, but you should still be trading it because you need to know how that performs. You need to know how that gets out of drawdown. You need to know what kept you in drawdown so then you can go back to the start, implement those changes, and fix it. If you're just getting bored of that loss streak, we shouldn't be having 26 loss streaks, by the way, guys. But if you're just getting bored of that loss streak and then going, oh, let me flip this £10,000 to a million, then you've binned off all your work. That's like writing an essay for university and then just turning it into a like a tattoo design pad or something, drawing over everything. Like you've just completely negated your work. I don't know if you have any other examples, but that's the key one for doing the work.
Yeah, I definitely just say that even the opposite to what I was saying before about journaling. Put in the work, just sit down and before you even start writing, because again, you don't want to rush into it because you don't want to do it for the sake of it. If that means leaving it to later on in the day, by the way, do that. It'll give you more time to think. But doing the work in journaling is sitting and looking at the charts, being like, did I follow my plan? Yes. Did I do everything as I should? Yes. Okay. What happened? This. Okay, cool. You write that all down. You put in the work. You do a thorough journal. You have it, so when if you pulled that up in 4 months' time, you're like, oh, let's have a look at this random day. I had a slightly big stop loss. Why did I have a big stop loss? Oh, I got slipped. Okay, cool. And then this was a trade. Oh my God, it was a perfect A-class setup with all the confluences I could have ever asked for. That's doing the work. But in 4 months' time, you pull it up, it's like loss, market conditions were like really bad today. Yeah, I got slipped. Feeling really down about it, and so if you're not putting in the work properly, if you're just kind of half-arsing it, as we keep saying it, it's gonna show and it's gonna come back around. And because I know we're on a bit of a time thing, I'd like to just bring a point I thought of, and is that trading is all about confidence at the end of the day. Because trading is a one-man game, one-man band, and to get to being profitable and to scaling and making lots of payouts and being a trader for a long period of time, you have to have a lot of confidence because not many people make it in trading. And that means you have to be willing and confident enough to say, I am part of that small percentage. Now, for you to have that confidence, and confidence, we've said this before, it's not built by going to the mirror, I'm a profitable trader. It's built by doing the work. Okay? Confidence comes as a result of undeniable results. So, if that is 4 years of backtesting, if that is profitable months for the however long, if that is whatever it is, following your system day in, day out, regardless of the results, that is putting in the work. And that gives you confidence. And the only way you're going to get that confidence is by doing the work. And if you half-ass it, you're not going to have confidence. And that is going to reflect in your trading, in your life. Ayrton has a quote, so let's hear it.
I have a quote, and it's basically the same thing you just said, but it's that Jeff Bezos quote, and it's that stress doesn't come from doing the work. Stress comes from not doing the work, and that's like exactly what you're saying. If you're putting in all these hours, yes, you're going to be tired, but I can tell you one thing: you're not going to be stressed about your trading because you have that confidence and you have that knowledge that you are doing the work, you're doing the right things. If you're messing about with your trading, if you're like not putting it all that effort in, if you're not showing up, then you're going to be stressed because you're going to be thinking like, oh no, I want to be financially free in like 1 to 2 years. I need to be financially free, but you're not putting in that work. So that will stress you out. If you're putting in that work, like us three here, I know are people in our group are, then you're not necessarily stressed. Yes, you're tired and the process is long, but I'm not personally stressed about trading. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not stressed about trading because I know everything I'm doing towards my end goal is right. And I'm gonna throw another little bit shade of all you guys watching this who are in the group but aren't saying anything. That is another example of not properly putting in the work. And what I'll get into is what is doing the work. And what is doing the work for you guys is being active. And I don't mean 24/7. I don't mean I want you on that app all the time, ready to say something as soon as I send a message. But you guys have an opportunity to connect with not only just us, but what, like 50 other traders at the moment? Like there's 50 other people in there that want to learn trading and want to become traders. But instead of actually communicating in there, messaging us with your problems, messaging them with ideas, messaging for community call ideas, you sat on your hands. You're not doing anything. You've joined the group for the dopamine hit of joining a trading group. So if your friend goes, "Oh, how's that trading go?" You could be like, "Yeah, I'm in this group. It's really good. It's growing. They have great calls." That's not putting in the work. Every time you have a problem, no matter how small, no matter how easy it is to ask ChatGPT, put it in here as well. Get some conversations going. Listen to people's experiences, and listen to people's knowledge because that's doing the work. Connecting with the right people and not just throwing away an opportunity. If I had a group like this at the start, I think me and Tom say this a lot, it would have been a big help. The groups we were in were telling us, buy now, deposit £500 in my broker. They weren't going, what do you guys need help with? We're going to do a call on it. Because that would have been blissful and made the whole journey a lot easier. So take advantage. That's what we're here for.
I have a perspective which, to be fair, I had seen online recently, and it was more about social media content, but I think it's relevant for this, and it was in the aspect of if you post something on social media and it gets 200 views, imagine if you were in a theatre hall, in a lecture room, and you had just said something to 200 people, you'd be like, whoa, I just spoke to this many people. That's the same with this group. You're in a place where you have the opportunity to put in a bit of work and potentially get a very good outcome. Not just short term, but long term. So, yes, it might feel like some scary place. I mean, I don't think it's scary. You have access to 50 other people who are like-minded. Now, Ayrton always likes to say it, and if he would like to say it better than I, he may. But in essence, you are who you surround yourself with. Okay? So if you surround yourself with a lot of like-minded other people, you're going to become the next. So when we put messages in, when we put in the work to offer help out, or just simply to express ourselves, it's also an opportunity for you to express yourself, to learn, to take. There's always work to be doing in trading, even if it's as simple as liking or reacting to a comment, or even reading that and then going and doing something as a result of seeing that, or even thinking about it.
Yeah,
There's always work to be done, and it's not just being in an area. You don't just show up. Showing up is part of it, yes, and I know there's a lot of things saying you should just show up in the first place, but you have to show up and do something, otherwise you might as well not show up. You can't just be
yeah.
there and do nothing. Same, we can't just sit in front of the TV, market maker model. That's you've shown up
I
well
showed up
done.
to uni and was learning trading. I didn't learn anything about my course from those lectures, but I showed up. So showing up's the first step, like you're saying.
Hmm.
It's not the That's not the work. Like showing
Best
up is
analogy.
yeah, showing up is just it's just easy. Like, all of us can show up. I could show up to the door of like a UN meeting if I wanted. I haven't done the UN meeting. In fact, I'd get turned around and told I can't be in here and probably put in a United Nations POW camp or something. But showing up is easy. Anyone can do that. And if you're not even showing up, then you have questions to be asking yourself because there's a lot of steps after that that you need to be taking. But we have come to the end of this call, so we'll get on the wrapping up. But yeah, I hope you guys who've watched this have learnt from it. You're gonna hopefully apply. Thank you, Josh, and thank you, Okan, who was here before, for joining. It's always good to have you with us. Josh, you're very good with your words in the chat when I'm fumbling the bag, so thank you for that. But yeah, thank you for joining, guys.
Yeah. Have a good evening and enjoy. Leave some feedback, like, comment,
Yes,
let
please.
us
Yeah.
know if you want anything. Peace out, guys.